Frank Ward's Weather Words is a production of The Reporter, Delaware County's leading newspaper. To subscribe or advertise, call 607-464-4009. This episode of Frank Ward's Weather Words is sponsored by Klinger Power Sports on West Street in Walton, your one-stop shop for outdoor recreational vehicles. Klinger services all recreational vehicles it sells. Stop in today to see how Klingers can help you enjoy the great outdoors in comfort and in style.
Good day to you. I will tell you that this first week in December, it's been rather unusual. Even if you've lived up here a very long time, how many of you remember a thunderstorm on December 2nd, which is what happened during the night? First, I thought it was my imagination. I thought it was a truck up on 206. And there was another one. And then both my cats jumped off the bed. And next thing you know, there's lightning out there. And I said, this is really unusual. Then we had a blast of rain. And then believe it or not, when you got up in the morning, it was mixed with some snowflakes. And it was like, okay, this is really strange. And then there was the talk of what could have been a substantial snowstorm for Wednesday. Well, that's not going to happen. First, let's go to yesterday. You know, if you stood in the sunshine, it was a beautiful afternoon. I was in a sweatshirt, and the person I was working with was in a t-shirt. And until late afternoon, it didn't even feel cold. Then, of course, this is Delaware County. It got cold. But now let's look at another thing that went wrong. You might remember the old saying, red sky in morning, sailor take warning. Red sky at night, sailor delight. Well, if you stepped out last night before sunset, all the clouds were pink, the sky was red, and I'm saying, that's not right. And the person I was working with says, isn't this backwards? I said, yes, it's backwards. This weather even has the old sayings confused. What am I going to say? I can't say anything else. And then last night we had a bunch of wind. About the time I was feeding my wood stove, wind started at about 15, 17, 18 miles an hour. And sometime during the night, I think about 2 o'clock in the morning, we had a little brief power failure here. Okay, woke up and my Christmas lights were on. I said, what are they doing on? They weren't on when I fed the wood stove, and they were on in the morning. Why? It messed the whole cycle up. I just reset it for tomorrow. But what's happening? And it's just happening now. Hopefully I can show you. The flag over here is just starting to move. Well, it's coming from that direction. That's why that mountain down there is called South Mountain, by the way. It's coming from the south. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Later on, I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be holding my hat because it'd be heading in that direction, or maybe this direction, depending. Here's your science behind it. Low pressure systems turn counterclockwise this way. As that low that was supposed to become the storm that isn't is heading up toward Canada, most of the winds are heading south and coming up to us. Since I called the temperature in this morning for the weather service, the temperature's going up 6 degrees. Of course, once that wind starts blowing, it's not going to feel like it's really warm. But at 6 o'clock this morning, we already surpassed our high we were supposed to get to for today. And we might get close to 50. That's only till noontime. When you step out and you say, God, that wind feels like it's coming from a different direction, and that different direction will be coming this way, because the low pressure system's now more toward Canada. So as the wind goes this way, more of it's up north. So what's it do? The temperature's going to start falling. Okay, in between all of that, there's going to be some rain here. And I think the rain will disappear before the temperature drops below freezing. But what's coming over us is something called a polar air mass. Now that might sound like it's going to be really cold. Not really. Okay, yes, you're going to step outside and say, oh yeah, it's below freezing. That's a polar air mass. It's when you hear me later on this year talk about an Arctic air mass that you're going to realize now it's really cold. But that's going to be tomorrow. We'll be lucky if we get to 30 tomorrow. Okay, so here we're going to go from 46, 47, 48 down to a high temperature of 30. We're going to have 2 cold days. And you say, oh, good, winter's here. No. because on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, warming back up into the 40s, and it's not going to be a real nice week. Something's going to be falling out of the sky during that whole time period. As you approach Sunday afternoon, whatever falling out of the sky will turn to snow. Not a lot, you don't need the shovel. But what could have been a nor'easter for Wednesday, it's going to be a couple of snow showers. But that worries me a little bit. Because you know what? If there's only a little snow, people don't pay any attention to it. They get in their car and they speed along. Next thing you know, you hit a guardrail, or you're sliding off the road, or you have a problem. It's the little snows that don't concern us. They should. They're really slippery. You know, when there's this much snow on the road, you pay attention to it. When there's this much snow on the road, it's just snow. And then we have problems. So please, whatever's falling out of the sky, be careful. And the problem is with Sunday, if what's falling out of the sky starts out as liquid, and then we go below freezing again, that turns to ice. So again, it's one of those wonderful, horrible driving situations. Pull out a good book, bake Christmas cookies, do something that you don't have to travel. And by the way, if you haven't put up your Christmas lights yet, I wouldn't put them up today, where they're talking about maybe winds blowing as high as maybe 50 miles an hour later. And that's why they did say chance of possible power outages again. You know, some of our trees are sitting on hillsides like this anyway. And I always wonder, what's holding them up? You know what? If you hit them just right with a 50 mile an hour wind, guess what? Oh well. Nisig, where are you? But anyway, hopefully not. But this is a very changeable week. You can keep a sweatshirt for part of it. This is fine for now. Later on, when that wind blows, we have something called wind chill factor, which I'll save for another time to really explain what that is. And just be ready for about anything that is coming. So once again, I really want to thank Clingers for being my sponsor, and encourage anyone who wants to help sponsor this whole thing, get a hold of the reporter and say, yes, put me on the list. If we share the wealth, then no one gets tired of being the only person that's helping. You know what? Everyone wants to hear me, believe it or not. Since I went on, people are stopping. I heard you. I saw you here. I heard you there. So guess what? People are back, and I'm real happy. So other than that, enjoy what's coming. Just hang on to your coat, hang on to your hat, and enjoy what's coming, because you can't do anything about it. So have a real great day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Shop Klinger Power Sports on West Street in Walton today.